A very good day to you. I hope you're having yourself an amazing Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, Wednesday evening, depending on where you're watching or listening from. This is the Black Hot Fire updates with me, Dimori, and I'm here to tell you about it and everything that was making the headlines in Africa today. Starting with Mauritania, going all the way to Kenya, and of course, we're going to be looking at each and everything that was making headlines in Africa. And the first today, let us start with Mauritania. We've been talking about Kenya for the whole of this week, so let us talk about Mauritania for a bit. So Mauritania was having its election, and Mauritania is a country that is in the West Africa, if I'm not wrong, borders Senegal. Let me check. It borders Senegal, and it is in that part bordering the ocean up there, next to Senegal and nearby to Gambia. Let me see. I don't want to mislead you. I'm saying that from yep. I'm not wrong. Mauritania is up there near Morocco, Mali, and Burkina Faso, and the Gambia at the corner there at the Canary Island. So why Mauritania is so popular? Because it's quite a popular country in Africa and in the world. One is that it is a really dry area. It is almost a desert-like area. Um, Bordering the Atlantic Ocean. Apart from that, it is among the few countries that slavery is still a norm. By slavery, I mean literally slavery, like the slavery where you have people keeping others as slaves. So, but that was not the main focus, although we're going to be looking at that for a little bit because it is important as we are talking about the violence that has occurred after the elections that were just concluded the other day. And the former president is the one who has retained. The incumbent is still going to continue leading. So the presidential elections were a few days ago. And out of that, clashes occurred between the security forces and protesters in the capital of Mauritania, and that led to the death of 3 people. A lot of people have also been injured, and an unspecified number of people were injured. Demonstration broke out in the capital and elsewhere across the country late on Monday after the current president's name is Mohamed Guazuni. He was declared the winner of the poll. His victory was quite a comfortable one. It was in the first round, and he'll now have a second term in office. His competitor, who was second, is a very renowned anti-slavery activist. His name is Biraham Da Abeid. He denounced the election and said it was a massive fraud and claimed that the results were falsified. So that was how he called for peaceful demonstrations and peaceful gatherings. However, as you know, in most of peaceful demonstrations and peaceful gatherings are alien in most African democracies, most African countries. Democracy is an overstatement. So of course the police did intervene, and there were clashes that broke out. And out of that, 3 people died. So let me tell you a little bit about Mauritania and how it is still one of the countries in the world where slavery is a norm. Actually, why don't I share a short video that CNN did on the same about Mauritania slavery? It is among the few countries that slavery is still a norm, like the literal. I know there's some other slavery happening, but this is literally somebody keeping you in their house as a slave. Yes, the only countries remaining, there are quite a few. Morocco is another very notorious country with the same, to a point that we have had Sahrawi trying to separate from Morocco because they do not want to associate themselves anymore with the people of Morocco. And this happens especially to people of that skin tone. There's that lighter skin complexion. The I don't know if they're Arabs, but they're the ones that are in Morocco, they're the ones that are in Mauritania. And there is always that feeling that I guess they feel like they are not the same as the black Africans and they feel white, they feel alien, they feel not African, and they feel like they can oppress now the Africans, the real Africans with the darker skin. So let me share a copyright disclaimer first before I share the video. So I'm only sharing the video for fair use and for educational purposes, so do not write down the channel.
C'est pour l'esclave qui vient de devenir l'esclave. Mais l'esclave descendant de plusieurs générations, il est esclave même dans sa tête. Et il est totalement soumis. Et c'est malheureusement ce genre d'esclavage que nous avons aujourd'hui. Celui dont rêvait le planteur américain.
There's one place in the world where slavery is still normal. Mauritania, in 1981, became the last country in the world to abolish slavery. There was no punishment for slave owners until 2007. The UN says 10 to 20% of Mauritanians live in slavery today. We traveled to the country on the western fringe of the Sahara to see for ourselves. We would meet people who never knew freedom, people who escaped to find their lives hadn't changed, and abolitionists who have been fighting against slavery for years with minimal results. We weren't allowed to be reporting on slavery. It's a practice the government tries to hide from outsiders. But as we would find, slavery is everywhere in Mauritania, if you know where to look.
C'est possible pour aller chez Mulher?
Je ne peux pas aller chez Mulher. Ce n'est pas possible et ce n'est pas aussi très adroit. Parce que une fois, on a amené des gens, on a amené là-bas des journalistes et la police est venue les prendre et a pris leur caméra.
We asked Boubacar Messaoud, the head of an abolitionist group called SOS Slaves, to introduce us to people who had recently escaped from slavery. One woman we met is trying to bring her case to court. The government is keeping a close eye on her to stop her from telling her story.
يبطنا مسرحنا بايقة من الحيوان البقار والقنام والبن ومضاد السراحة ما من نجي نعود مطيشين شي من والله شي تريب يخبط فوقنا التعمر ويبطنا البط الشديد وباني بينا كاملين شاكين كان يبطني بعد يبطوني كاملين يبطونا بالعمد وبالدبابيس.
I don't know if the captions are too small, but she's talking about how their masters would beat them up and sometimes even scare them with guns. And talking about slaves and masters in 2024 in a country like Mauritania.
وندوروا فيهم حقنا كاملة وظن كنت لا تركتهم هم المخالدين لا تركتهم لكن المخالدين. هذيك ساعة معاهم ما نعرف شيء ساعة أين معاهم ما نعرف شيء لا عن معاهم هذي بعد يعني عاد يبطوني بطن متين وكل شيء عاد يعطون معاهم هذي كانوا ما يبطوني البطن متين لا هذا عاد معي خاطر لين خلك قتلوه هذا الراجل.
Wow, listen to how inhumane animal like those people are. So this woman who was working as a slave for the master was sexually assaulted and she gave birth to these daughters, to this beautiful young girl right here. And as if that was not enough, they went ahead and also raped the girl, the same masters. So they raped the woman, they sexually assaulted the woman, she gave birth to a daughter, their daughter, the master's daughter. The master still went ahead and raped his daughter.
كل سامع عربنا مش كتب بالحالة شنو لين عد كيف لكن هاي خلي بيبي هاي مسوي قروة عاد يهزوني فيها يقتلوا يخلي بيبي يقتلوا.
While SOS Slaves was able to reunite Mulher with her children, others are forced to leave their families behind.
توفت مثلا الآن حاول سفن قد كان قد نمشي بها سيفة عود ضامنة اللي جاتني السناطرة، انا ما مشيت معكم انتم اللي ضمنتوني ما تردوني وضرب مني تردوا لهم 30
I
والله.
just wanted to show you part of what has been happening in Mauritania so that you can contextualize when I'm talking about the post-election violence that has happened in Mauritania with some people out in the streets after all this has been happening in the watch of the incumbent president who is still going to continue ruling Mauritania because he won the election. And his name is Ghazouani, and the one who would have saved Africans in Mauritania. Let me use the word Africans because they are Africans. In the others, I don't know what they are. The ones who would have saved the Mauritanian from this is the competitor who came second and who is saying that the election was rigged. So now, Africans in Mauritania, the same as in as is the case in Morocco, where even though they are really trying hard to escape from Morocco, the Africans in Morocco are trying to liberate themselves. They even created a country called Sahrawi. The AU has refused to recognize Sahrawi as a nation. Many African countries do not recognize Sahrawi as a country, Kenya included. They say it's a province in Morocco, but in real sense, they have separated because they are done with the slavery and everything. So it is the same case that is happening in Mauritania with such unspeakable things happening, especially to the women. You saw like that woman who was talking about how she was raped and her daughter was also raped. I mean, it's that inhumane, it's that animal-like. It's that animal-like. So power to the people of Mauritania. I stand with them as they are protesting and as they are trying to have a new Mauritania that, there is no slavery anymore, that the Africans in Mauritania can live freely, where the women don't have to worry about being raped by their masters, being beaten up, having their kids raped by the same. Imagine having your daughter sexually assaulted by the same person who sexually assaulted you, and you had that daughter. They don't even have any humanity in them. So we might not finish the whole video. It's a lengthy one. We are going to talk about it maybe on a different show, on a longer show. But for this 30-minute show, I might not be able to finish the whole Mauritania video. But let's just watch a little bit of it. I hope you can see the captions, even though they're small.
تردوني انا اخترتكم تخطوني بعماره تردوني عن نرجع نتخمم بها بعد اللي ما قدنا ساعه كاع اللي مزال اخوتي لي ما قدنا ساعه كاع ما قدنا ساعه حد مولي راه كان من اعدام ما قد ساعه
These abolitionists are trying to prove that slavery still exists here. That's one reason SOS slaves helped us meet Matala and Mohair. Their stories are evidence that brutal forms of slavery are still very real. Since slavery became a crime, only one slave owner has been successfully prosecuted. The government still denies the practice exists.
Imagine slavery was abolished in 2007. It was abolished in the 80s, but it was made illegal in 2007. That first shows you how unserious they treat slavery, because how was slavery not illegal in 2005 in Mauritania? They did that in 2007. And this, as if that is not enough, only one person has ever been prosecuted ever for slavery. One person. And you hear the government denies any claims of the same. So you can clearly tell that they support it. It's something that they support, as is the case in Morocco, where those, let me call them Arabs, treat Africans as lesser beings in our own birthplace, Africa. And when we other Africans do not even stand up for them, then it even goes towards what I don't remember who said that sometimes it's even the silence of those who watch you suffer that hurts more than the ones who are For example, look at Sahrawi. How many African countries have recognized Sahrawi as a nation? Despite the fact that the whole of Africa knows what happens in Morocco, and they know that Sahrawi is just trying to end that whole slavery bullshit, because they know in Morocco they might not be able to do it. So they're trying to craft their own state. But how many African countries actually recognize Sahrawi? I don't know of any. I don't think this. Not Kenya, not Uganda. They don't recognize it as a free state. So the same way, Mauritania borders countries like, it borders other African countries. It borders Gambia, borders Senegal. It's near Burkina Faso, and they know what is happening there, but they can't do anything. So that is that the fact that we watch some of these things happen as Africans. The Africans in those countries may not be able to stand up for themselves, because in most cases you might find that they're the minority, maybe the Arabs are the ones in the majority. But come on, Mauritania is next to Mali, Mauritania is next to Burkina Faso, it's next to Guinea, it's next to the Senegal, it's next to the Gambia, it's next to Morocco, of course, which I shouldn't be mentioning. So how about the people of Mali, the people of Guinea-Bissau, the people of Senegal? Put an end to this, because
Right.
yes, Keith?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead, Demore. I was saying what to somebody else.
Oh yeah, so sometimes it's the silence, it's us watching as other Africans are suffering silently, knowing that we can do something about it. But of course, not even the AU can speak, not even the puppet organization can speak. They're just waiting for a coup to happen in Burkina Faso so that they're just waiting for Africans to start standing up for themselves so that they can start threatening military intervention. How about a military intervention in a country where Africans are getting raped and killed every day out of slavery? How
What
about
we talking about, Demore?
I'm talking
What
about
we talking about?
I'm talking about Mauritania, which is making me really mad. The
Well,
slavery.
I told you, it's a slavery state, slavery country. You didn't know that? Africans ain't never. I told you that a long time ago. Africans ain't never done shit about it. Right there. They used to be part of an old African empire, but the Arabs got it now. And you've been supposed to invade it, Mauritania, and took it back over. Been supposed to invade that bitch. Right there north of Senegal. That was part of the Mali Empire. You've been supposed to invade that. But the puppet leaders ain't gonna do it.
So they're having post-election violence there. There were elections last week, and apparently the current president is going to continue for another term. And he's one silent supporter of the slavery there because he's never done anything about it. His name is Gozoni. His competitor was a very renowned anti-slavery activist. His name is Biramda. And the competitor is saying that the election was rigged. He had won, but they rigged it, and that is why he's calling for peaceful protest. However, as they were peacefully demonstrating, they were attacked by the police, and several of them are dead. Yeah, so that is Mauritania with its slavery. The same case. It's in that whole region, because next to it is Morocco. Morocco is perhaps
Morocco. Yeah.
Morocco is more racist than most white countries that you'll go to.
I told you that. I told you guys. You guys always, oh, but they're African. Oh, that's Africa. I said, that's not Africa to you. You keep thinking it is. It's not. I've been to Morocco. They treat you like shit. They don't treat me like shit because I was African American, but the Africans, they treat like, I'm African. They say, you're an African American. You're not as fucked up as the regular Africans. I'm like, what? What?
I think you're more likely to get abused, racially abused in Morocco than in Germany or in any
the Arabs are racist as shit. Yeah, that's how they got the country, doing a slave trade and Africans losing power in that country. You go back just 500 years ago, the majority of the country was was black. All your sultans that were there were black. Now you got these white Arabs that control the country. They're racist as fuck. They're mixed with the Greeks, the Romans, and the goddamn Turks. They're racist as shit. All of North Africa is racist. From Morocco, Libya, goddamn Tunisia, and Algeria.
I
And kidnap
personally
Egypt.
blame, I personally blame African countries for what is happening in Mauritania, for what is happening in Morocco. I blame the neighboring countries for not doing anything, for just watching as their fellow Africans are getting.
Because the African man is a coward. He's a bootlick. He's a handkerchief
Imagine,
head. He's not gonna
as
fight
the,
them because he knows if you fight an Arab country, all the Arabs are gonna fight your ass. And he knows none of these puppet niggas are gonna actually build a military to fight you when you go against the Arabs. You're too divided. So South to Kenya is trying to stop that, trying to now come back to Africa. You know, these puppets, you got slavery on your door, your people enslaved. You ain't said nothing, you ain't done nothing. On the world stage, you're weak. That's why nobody respects you. When an African leader gets up and talks somewhere, hey man, shut. They walk out. It's lunchtime. Forget this moron. You're seen as weak and feckless. Because everybody knows you're a puppet.
even the Africans who are brave enough to fight for themselves, for example, in Morocco, and separate themselves from the racist Arabs that is in Sahrawi, African countries refuse to recognize them. They are like, I know you're fighting against racism and against slavery, but you're not going to recognize you still. Like, they don't recognize even those Africans who are brave enough to fight for themselves. Kenya included does not recognize Sahrawi as a nation. Even though we know the history, we know that these are Africans who've been under oppression, under slavery for the longest, and they've just been brave enough to fight for
Yeah, the land
themselves.
stolen. That's why when you go to all these Arab countries, when you go to the south of the country, they're all black. Go to southern Morocco, it's black. Go to southern Libya, it's black. Southern Egypt, it's black. Southern Algeria is black. Those are the black people that stayed while everybody else fled back down in the southern Africa and went down under the Sahara Desert. You had a few Africans that stayed, stayed. I don't know why, but they decided to stay there in the southern part because hopefully they wouldn't get completely wiped out. So you go to any of these Arab nations, they can't tell you, why you got black people all in the south since you always claim these were your nations. You know, it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. I love to break up an Arab back. Don't tell me that lie. You tell one of these goofy African niggas. I know history. I know when you got there. I know when you got African people in the southern part of your countries because they are the original people there. They just didn't leave when all the other Africans went further south into Kenya, Uganda, Mali, Nigeria, whatever. They just didn't go further south. So these are the people that's up there that were, and they know who they are. That's why they so, as the Mercy, so racist. Those were the enslavers. Those were the enslavers.
And
Those were your enslavers and your colonizers before the other white man showed up. The Arab slave trade was just as wicked as the European slave trade. Theirs didn't even stop. Theirs supposedly stopped in 1970, 30 years ago. We see in Mauritania it hasn't stopped. It's still there.
Yeah, they made slavery illegal in Mauritania in 2007, and only one person has ever been prosecuted for slavery since then.
Yeah.
One, and it was probably PR. I know they were just trying to show the world that we are now fighting slavery. And somebody will come to you with the talk that Morocco is an African country, the people there are Africans. No, they are not. Those people
No,
have
they're not.
damage to Africans.
No, they're not. And they've already told you when they play in their goofy soccer match, we're not Africans. I told you that. But you're trying to draft them as African, the other Africans. They're African. It's an African country. It's an African country, moron. But they stole that land. It just happens to be on the African continent, but it's not an African country. No, it's not. It's an Arab country in Africa. Okay?
Yep.
Just like the white man in South Africa was trying to make South Africa a white country in Africa. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. Wipe out the Africans in Southern Africa. So they succeeded up in the north by enslaving and genociding and wiping them out. So, yeah, the country is in Africa, but it's not an African country. And they'll tell you to your face, we're not an African country. We're in Africa, but we're not Africans. We're Arabs.
And moving away from the Arabs and the Morocco and Mauritania, we'll need a longer show to talk about that. In Kenya, for the first time ever, I've never seen this in the history of this country since I was born, and I know even since independence, the MPs refused a pay rise. They were given a pay rise.
Now all of a sudden they stopped their pay raise? See, this
refused.
Makes the power. They refused. I'm saying they refused it.
They said, one of them asked, "You're giving us a pay rise. How do you expect us to work in the streets?" So, for the first time ever, civil servants were added a salary.
It's called power.
I need peace of mind. I don't want the money. I don't want the money. I don't want to get beaten up. Keep your money.
It's called understanding power and what happens when people take back power. Corruption's right there in the front of your face. They're not going to be corrupt because now they've been getting their work. Their house has been getting burned down. They've been getting stoned in the street. Of course they don't want it because that shows you how corrupt the country is. They didn't know this was going to happen before it was installed, getting ready to go. When it was getting ready to, when they'd already planned to have these increases, they didn't know all hell was going to break loose. They'd already planned this months in advance. And now that it's here, like, oh shit, we can't accept this shit.
If you want to know how messed up our priorities and as a country we were, and still are unless things change, MPs and government servants, that is government civil servants, the ones at the top, they are paid a total of 1.1 trillion Kenya shillings. That is about 47% of the budget. So 47% of the national budget goes towards paying.
Damn. 47% of the budget. So there's no money left here. There's no money left.
That leaves 53% for the remaining 54 million Kenyans to share. That is in salaries.
There's no money left. This is crazy talk.
Buying medicine, in terms of paying for education, in terms of building roads. You have to share 53%. 47% goes towards paying members of parliament. 47%.
You're talking about a banana republic. That puts the banana in banana. It's a banana republic. It's so corrupt, so wicked. And so, see, those numbers now that you know those numbers, they want to take it now. Oh, we don't want the pay rate. The whole shit has got to be changed, overhauled. It is so corrupt, so wicked. But it ain't Kenya. It's all Africa. All Africa's done it. It's all this wicked. You got 53 million people fighting for 50-some% of a budget. 53% of a budget. You sound crazy as cat shit.
One MP was talking about how, one senator was talking about how when he became senator, he was given a government vehicle with there's something called an ETC. And he was talking about how he was looking at the balance in his ETC. ETC is a card that is used for fueling and that is used for passing through, for example, the Nairobi Expressway where you have to
pay. Tolls. He gets his tolls paid.
Yeah, so he was saying he was looking at the balance in his card and he could not believe it. The amount there was so much that he could not exhaust it even if he was in his whole term.
Oh, now he's saying he know what he couldn't believe it. He's scared because it's going to be audits brought to their no good ashes. I couldn't believe how much money we get. I didn't know.
I was actually saying I actually don't need that much money. I don't need that much. And we had one.
Now all of a sudden, tomorrow they don't need that much money.
We actually had one MP. I can't remember from where. It was a woman representative. So the money she was asking for fuel in a year was, if you divide, I can't remember the figures, but if you divide the figures, that is assuming his vehicle was consuming 6 kilometers a liter. That is, I don't even think vehicles consume that much, because
God
even the
damn.
fuel gas do 8-9 kilometers a liter. So we divided the amount of money she was asking for fuel in a year by 6 kilometers a liter, and we figured out that the kilometers she claimed to have traveled in a year was equivalent to going around the globe 14 times. Yep.
That's accurate. How many times? 14 times?
14 times. Yep.
Going around the earth 14 times for 1 year. She wanted that money. This is how corrupt, how fucked up. Because they know the system has been this corrupt from its inception. And told you everything in Kenya is changed. It never go back to the same. You wicked, goddamn thieving niggas until your day is done. 14 times around the globe. See, the youth can calculate that. Your mama and your granddaddy didn't know what the fuck was going on. But the youth are calculating that. Now you're talking about paying you to God 14 times around the earth. Crazy.
Ridiculous it is.
It's on a level of ridiculousness to just you. It's like that movie. Anybody see that movie, Idiocracy? They always say, if you ever get a chance, go look. They say African countries are like this. Go get the movie. Came out almost 20 years ago. It's called Idiocracy. They say Americans become like that, but they say these are all African countries. They say, go get the movie called Idiocracy. It is hilarious.
So she was demanding for 43 million Kenya shillings. That was what she was demanding. 43 million. That is equivalent to 436,000.
That's equivalent to batshit crazy.
That is equivalent to 4,360,000 liters of fuel. 4 million liters of fuel.
That's batshit crazy, Damore. That's batshit. And she wasn't afraid to do it because she knows that corruption has been the order of the day.
Actually, that story happened in 2022. So you would imagine she's in jail, right? Because we knew she was lying. But apparently she's now the labor. Yes, she's the cabinet secretary of labor.
Of course.
Yep.
But see,
she's the one leading the talk of telling Africans to sign up for jobs in Saudi Arabia. And
why you gotta sign up for jobs in Saudi Arabia when you got all my money going in your gas tank? You saying all kind of ridiculous shit. No, you supposed to have jobs here. Not I gotta go to Saudi and get abused by fucking racist ass Arabs.
They actually made a whole system, kid, that has listed jobs. I don't know if I can get that system right now. Let me see. They made a system that has listed jobs that are available for Kenyans, and I just want you to see the jobs that they have listed there. I wish I could get that.
Saudi Arabia.
I found it. Yeah, they made a website that they are now asking Africans. They are now asking Kenyans to go to that website if you need a job. Go. It's a government website. If you graduate,
go there and go to the country and be a slave.
Yeah, so
to the racists. This is how fucked up these Africans.
Let us go through the jobs that are available for Africans from the government. The jobs that the government is providing for its young people. These are the jobs that are available. One is Monisa Company Limited is looking for company cleaners in Saudi Arabia, 20 of them.
Yeah.
The second one is technician carpenter in Qatar, 10 of them. The third one is housemaids, 500 of them in Saudi Arabia.
All kind of bum nigga jobs. Be a maid, be a janitor.
Yep. Another one is looking for a house help, 200 of
house
them in
help.
Saudi Arabia. This is a government website.
All kind of slavery because the government is fucked up, Damore. These Africans don't give a shit about African people. This is insulting. Go somewhere We don't want to create jobs because the white man go somewhere and be somebody else's slave, somebody else's maid, house help, where you talk too crazy and they racist as shit. You failed as a government and you're supposed to be overthrown. You have failed. How fucking dare you put this on a government website telling my kid to go be a slave to racist motherfuckers in another country because you failed to bring jobs in America, jobs in Kenya to create jobs. Sound crazy as cat shit.
Yep.
You'll never see no website like that up in America telling white people, hey, go to Saudi Arabia and become a maid. What the
And
fuck,
this is
what?
after this is after we've seen what happens to people when they go to Saudi Arabia.
I know, any Arab country.
Come back to caskets. We've seen hundreds of them getting raped, getting sexually assaulted, getting physically assaulted, being made to wash snakes.
Exactly. The government doesn't care because
type of fetish with them. But now the government has made a website. The website is a government website. Its domain is actually a .go.ke. And all the jobs are in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
yeah. That's the Arab saying, that's the Arab saying, come here and be a slave, nigga. That's what it's telling.
This is the government telling you, go to school, graduate with your engineering degree, go be a housemaid in Saudi Arabia. With your engineering degree, go be a housemaid in Saudi Arabia. As the MPs get a million Kenya shillings in salaries, they earn higher than CEOs of most blue chip companies, even in the West.
Of course, they want to facilitate. That's how corrupt. They don't want to facilitate this. This is how duplicitous these officials are. But see, you guys didn't get the memo. Your Gen Zs are waking up. And now you're going to be kicked out of office. You're scared to take it because you're corrupt as fuck. You're sending your babies to goddamn be slaves because you don't give a shit. As long as you get your little bit of crumbs, you don't give a shit about anybody.
But it's good that they know. It's good they know that they know, and they say that we are a KFC generation. So there is no KFC in Saudi Arabia. We're not going there. We are dealing with you right here.
They got KFC over there. Yeah, they got KFC, they got Popeyes, they got McDonald's, they got all kind of shit over. Hell yeah, and Saudi Arabia, hell yeah, they got KFC, they got Popeyes, they got.
Isn't that a country where women can't drive themselves? Isn't that?
They used to. I think they just changed that like 3 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, so they can't. Because you couldn't drive yourself. I mean, they didn't have no fast food shit there. They got all kind of fast food. American fast food.
The only lesson that we can borrow from Saudi Arabia is one. From those Middle Eastern countries, there's only one lesson that we can borrow from them is how they deal with Western bullshit, especially to do with LGBTQ propaganda and stuff. They do not compromise on that. So at least we can borrow that one.
They only let them deal with that. But if they do anything that they don't really like, Europe will come down and crush the fuck out their ass. Those countries you see, they're puppets too, Demore. They were created. Those fake ass kingdoms, they're not in kingdoms. They were created. That was the Ottoman Turk Empire that collapsed after World War I. Only reason why they call themselves Arabs because the white man told them, call yourself an Arab now because we're changing history and we want to say you're the original Arabs and all that shit too. Because they're all Turks. That was the Ottoman Turk Empire. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Dubai, all that shit was Turkish land. It's called the Ottoman Turk Empire, Demore. It collapsed after World War I. And so Britain created all them, the same they did in Africa. They created them fake goofy countries over there. The UAE, fucking Abu Dhabi and all that dumb shit. Those ain't no fucking real countries. They were created by the white man. Shit. Fucking Saudi Arabia. That wasn't no country. That was the Ottoman Turks. Owned all that. Syria. All that shit was the Ottoman Turk Empire. All you gotta do is look up images of the Ottoman Turk Empire. You'll see it. They look up images of the Ottoman Turk Empire at its zenith. You see all those countries from Morocco all the way up was Turkey. Or the Turkish Empire. See the Ottoman Empire at its zenith. See the Ottoman Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Turk Empire at its zenith or at its height. at its height.
Spell the first name.
Ottoman, O-T-T-I-M-A-N, Ottoman, O-T-T-I-M-A-N, Empire. Ottoman Empire at its height. See, images of the Ottoman Empire at its height.
Yeah.
Hell, even part of Ukraine was controlled by the Ottomans. All that shit it just collapsed in 100 years ago after World War I. The other European powers wanted to finally collapse and take control of its land, and it's dead. That's where you get Israel and all that Palestine, all that shit. That was Ottoman land. That's part of the empire. Egypt, Libya, Morocco, all that shit. Saudi Arabia, all that bullshit. There ain't no king, the king of Saudi. How the fuck are you a king and you ain't been around even 100 years? Fuck out of here. all these fake kings and shit. Fuck out of here. I'm the king of Dubai. Yeah. Yeah, right there. That's the Ottoman Turkish Empire. All that shit was Ottomans. They could show all that. You need to show all the Saudi Arabia, all of Saudi Arabia, all that shit, Bahrain, Dubai, all that shit was Turkey. All that shit all the way over to Morocco, Libya, Algeria, Tunisia. All that shit was the Ottoman Turkish Empire. It collapsed 100 years ago. After World War I, the collapse and the Europeans stole that land. So yeah, we get that good. Because they wanted to break. It was the cats with the small hats who wanted to break up the Ottoman Empire so they could create Israel. Because the Ottomans told them, no, you can't come here. We want to live under you, Ottomans. The Ottomans said, nah, this ain't going to be no fucking Israel. You crazy, fuck out of here. And so the cats with the small hats said, we're going to break this motherfucker up. We're going to break up this empire. We're going to break you fucking Turks up and create all kind of fake countries. What we're going to do, we're going to break your shit up. And that's what they did as they broke up Russia. They broke up Russia and the Ottomans at the same time. 1917, they broke up Russia. In 1921, they broke up Turkey. I see Turkey, a little bitty small country. They took, when it was one big empire, they took all that shit. Get the fuck out. We're taking all that shit. And so they came these other motherfuckers in Turkey, said, hey, you want to be a king? Yeah, I'd like to be a king. Okay, goopy motherfucker, you're the king of Saudi Arabia. You motherfuckers want to be a king over there? You're the king of Abu Dhabi. You're the king of this. You're the king of that. You're the king of Jordan. Well, no kings. How the fuck they all say gonna be kings? That was all the Ottoman Turk Empire. Go ahead,
it's the same as the Kenyan Duke of Nonsense, if you remember him.
Yeah, the Duke. I'm the Duke of whatever the fuck he said his name was.
So let me allow Jovi to prepare for her show. So that was all I had today on the updates. I'll see you tomorrow.
He was the Duke of Dick Sucking. I'm the Duke of Dick Sucking. Crackers. That what you should have told him to come on. He wouldn't want to be the Duke of Dick Sucking Crackers. Duke of Dick Sucking.
Much love, family.
See, he learned shit. See, the Ottoman Turk Empire. So when you say, I'm talking to the king of Saudi Arabia. Yeah? Really? Yeah, how did he become king? I don't even know. Was he a king 100 years ago? Yeah, I think he was. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. None of these motherfuckers you see today in what you call the fake Middle East, none of these motherfuckers were kings. They were goat herders and backward and fucked up. The British and the French say, hey, you want to be a king, nigga? Yeah, I'll be a king. Okay, we'll control your countries and we'll control your resources. We'll make you a king. Okay? Okay. That's what happened.
Much love, kid. Much love.
Much love. That's why you see Turkey always talking shit about these places that they invade. You think Turkey gives a shit about the royal families of Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi and all that and Dubai? The Turks like, what? Motherfucker, if you don't get out of here talking about you a king to me, but I know all that land was mine, you get the fuck out my face.